Hey guys, it's Sam, and welcome to Caps Lock, a podcast designed to help you live bigger, better, louder, and longer. Before we get started, I just want to thank you guys for listening and for giving this a chance and for coming here in pursuit of your best self. This is a space where we are going to grow together, and my hope is that it helps you go forward confidently, unapologetically, and with purpose. It's time to live your life in Caps Lock. If that mission feels aligned for you, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and let's dive in. Good morning, everybody. I did a whole bunch of life updates on the last episode, and it was the longest, rambliest intro ever, but you guys loved it, and I got a lot of DMs following up on my life updates. So, gonna keep doing that. And the first update's very exciting, and it's also kind of embarrassing at the same time, but I'm running my first race ever. If you follow me on social media, you know that in February, I went on my first run ever, which is so embarrassing for someone who's really into fitness. I've done literally every kind of workout you can possibly imagine, and yet I had never been for a proper run before. And I posted it. I filmed it and I posted it. I just did 1 mile. I was like, let's just see what happens. Let's see what kind of runner I am. And I did it in I think it was 9 minutes and 15 seconds, something like that. And I put it on the internet. It did 600,000 views on Instagram and 200,000 on TikTok. And I got so much engagement in the way of comments and messages. You guys had tons of advice for me, what apps to download, what to wear, just tips and tricks, stuff like that. And it was so helpful. It inspired me to bring run coaches on the podcast. And so if you haven't listened to that episode, I highly recommend it. You guys really loved it, those of you who did hear it already. And I just kind of started learning more about running. And I feel like when I go on trips, when I'm out of town, when I'm out of my routine, that's such a good way to stay in some sort of fitness routine because you don't need anything. You just need your sneakers and a dream. So anyway, all that said, back then, all of you guys told me to download Strava, and I did. And I've been on a couple of runs since then using Strava. But one thing that I was really looking for that I was not getting is Strava is such a good tracking app. It'll track how far you went, how fast you went, your route, if you will. But I was I want to be trained. I want someone to tell me what to do in order to build up my speed or my endurance or my distance, whatever it is. And the truth is, I just don't have the kind of schedule where I can work very consistently with a run coach. If that changes, I'm definitely going to be working with Heather and Jason, those run coaches I brought on the show because they're so great. But it's so hard for me to stay consistent, especially during the summer right now when I'm traveling. So I found a different app and it's called Runna. And at the time I found it, they had just been acquired by Strava. So Runna gives you you put in basically what your goal is, and it gives you a program and guides you on your program. So you train using Runna, and then you track using Strava, and you can connect them. It's so smart. I'll put a link to download Runna or to learn more about it in the notes. I have the paid version, and if you use my code, you can get 2 weeks of that free. But I think the paid version is better than the free version. I think it's worth it, which I never pay for apps, so that's a huge deal. Anyway, I'm running my first 5K on October 5th in New Jersey. Shout out to my mom because she's the reason I'm running it. She decided to start running and wanted to run a 5K. So now my dad's doing it, my brother's doing it, I'm doing it, my boyfriend's doing it, Ryan's doing it. All my friends there's 15 of us running this race. And I'm going to use Runna to train. So I'll be posting about it a ton on social. You can follow my journey. I know it sounds silly to kind of train for a 5K because it's so short and I am in good shape, but I want to run it fast. I want to actually compete. I don't just want to jog, So I'm running 5K and it's going to be my first race ever and I'm really excited. This episode is brought to you by Whoop. Whoop is the only wearable that turns your health and fitness data into personalized guidance. I've been wearing my Whoop for over 2 years now, and I can confidently say that the new model is an amazing upgrade. The new device is 7% smaller than the previous model, and the new battery lasts for 2 full weeks before you need to recharge. But those aren't even my favorite features. First, Whoop now tracks women's cycles with hormonal insights. We talk about our hormones all the time on Caps Lock, and we know how much they affect our health and wellness, not to mention our day-to-day experience of the world. This is huge. Second, the new Whoop includes a feature called Health Span, which tells you your physiological age and how your daily habits impact your pace of aging. Then gives you custom advice for slowing your pace of aging and ultimately lowering your Whoop age. And third, Whoop now offers heart health features, including on-demand blood pressure and ECG readings, so you can check in on your heart anytime and share results with your healthcare provider. This is important for everyone, but especially as my loved ones start to get older, I've gotten them all on the new Whoop because it could literally be a lifesaver. You know how I feel about my health, proactive and preventative. And the new Whoop is my #1 teammate in wellness. Join now at join.whoop.com/Samantha Fair. That's join.whoop.com/Samantha Fair. Another update, and this is sad and happy. You guys know I'm a huge Rumble fan. Rumble on the Upper East Side is closing at the end of September, and it's my living nightmare because that's like my home base, Rumble. It's closing because the landlord had this clause in the leasing agreement that he could at any time, like, basically cancel the lease and build condos instead in the building. And so that's what they're doing. It's very depressing because if you know anything about Rumble in New York, you know that Rumble Upper East Side is the only one that has the treadmills. And my boyfriend and I go to Kyle Axman's treadmill class every Tuesday morning at 7:15 on the Upper East Side. Like, what are we going to do with our lives now? We're just going to like show up at Kyle's apartment and be like, want to go for a run? Anyway, the reason I'm telling you that is not just so that you can grieve and mourn and wear black all week, but it's also because I texted the owner. Her name is Irina. She's a great friend of mine. And she and I agreed that we're going to do a big send-off run class party at Rumble Upper East Side for Caps Lock listeners. So it's going to be a big like Caps Lock send-off Rumble Upper East Side farewell party. We heart you. And we're picking a date for it. The studio closes at the end of September, so it'll be sometime in August or September. And I will talk about it on here so that you guys know all the details. I'll post about it on social, and we can just go celebrate because that is a really, really sad loss. We're really going to miss that studio. Just a couple more quick ones. Follow me on Goodreads if you like books. And if you don't like books, put the phone on and start reading a book because you guys know how I feel about reading. I think we all should be doing it more. I think it makes you smart. I think it makes you interesting. I think it makes you empathetic and well-rounded. And if you're not reading, I'm judging you. I have a Goodreads profile where I sometimes track my progress through a book, but mostly I just like update you guys on what I'm reading and when I finish it, my opinion on the book, and then I move to the next one. But a lot of you guys are on Goodreads, had no idea, posted about it, got like 11,000 clicks on the link to my Goodreads. And I was like, oh, you guys want to know. So I kind of treat it like book club. If you ever see what I'm reading and you're reading it too, or you have opinions about it, always DM me. I love to talk about books. So check out my Goodreads. I will also put the link to that in the show notes if you want to connect with me, or it's on my social media. I have a highlight on Instagram it might be called Books, lol. And my Goodreads is linked all over there. So book girlies do that. And then the last update in my life right now is that my renovation of my apartment is almost done. You guys know this has been like the #1 stressor in my life, kind of for a long time now, for many reasons. One of them being that it's completely disrupted my home. And in New York, that's a really big deal because my kitchen is basically half my apartment. And also because it's bleeding me dry. I have no money left. It's so expensive for what? I put a Q&A kind of box on my Instagram stories the other day, and a lot of you guys submitted questions. And this kind of rolls into another life update. I'm going to answer them on YouTube. I had a YouTube era back in the day. A lot of you guys really loved it. I yap. It's totally my job. And I love to edit video content. That is something I studied in school. It's something I do for the pod, something I do for social media. And I think I'm just going to make my return to YouTube, and we're going to start with the apartment Q&A. If you want to see what it looks like, in my humble opinion, it's gorgeous. I have an Instagram highlight for that as well. It's called Apartment. And it basically, you can see the before kitchen, you can see the rendering of what I'm have been working on, and you can see the progress updates. And I've updated you guys all the way, like from when we gutted it and it was literally just like a big hole in the wall, to installing the cabinets, to the stone, which is like the biggest part of the renovation for me. It has the most personality. It's beautiful, in my opinion. And I did a little Q&A box, and a ton of questions came in, so I'm gonna do a sit-down Q&A on YouTube, in the next couple weeks. I'll film it in the kitchen so that I can show you guys the different elements. A lot of you were like, "Where's the sink?" And I was like, "Guys, it's small, I get it." Like, I live in New York, sorry. Um, and stuff like that. So, really excited for it to be over because it's gonna be finished probably in the next, like, week, and then immediately my gem of a contractor is going to paint all the walls in the entire interior of the apartment, and then we can finally finish putting in whatever furniture is remaining, which is not that much, and then putting the art on the walls for the first time, literally since I moved in 16 months ago, and it'll really feel like a home. And then, of course, I'm gonna do a big apartment tour that will also go on social and YouTube everywhere. Um and I'm just really excited, like I said, second New Year, AKA September, which is, like, the best time of my life. I actually like it better than New Year's because I use it as, like, such a hard reset on every part of my life. I will finally, for the first time since I moved in 16 months ago, have a real home base where I feel, like, safe and grounded and happy, and I feel like I'm just gonna be firing on all cylinders, and by then, my boyfriend will live with me, so no big deal. Anyway, those are my life updates. If you have opinions, thoughts, comments, or you're just excited, shoot me a DM and I'll keep you posted on the Caps Lock Rumble event. Anyway, this brings us to the topic of the day, which is burnout. What to do when you're already burnt out. Lately, I have been having these amazing caffeine induced crackhead mornings where I have the most extreme energy, super like optimism. I'm super positive. I'm extremely productive. I'm firing on all cylinders. I will take a call and I sound like a fucking genius. I'm like pitching my business. I'm landing things. I'm closing deals. I'm coming up with ideas that later I'm like, how did my brain even do that? Everyone I talk to before the hour of like 12 p.m. thinks I'm a fucking genius. It's so bizarre. Not bizarre. I am a fucking genius. Hype yourself up, girl. But I like the mornings are almost like manic episodes where I feel so amazing and on top of the world. I'm like bouncing through the streets. I want to be outside. I'm like too friendly to the barista. I'm like, "How's your day? How are your kids?" Like, it's a lot and I love it. I'll give you an example. Like, I've been going to the gym first thing in the morning every morning for basically 21 days in a row right now. And yesterday I started drinking my caffeine once I was already there because I was out of energy drinks. Most people know I'm always fucking strapped. I have a Celsius, I have a Gorgie, I have a whatever the fuck it is, an Alani Nu, an amino lean in my hand the moment my eyes are awake. But I ran out because I've been drinking them and I've been giving them to my boyfriend and bringing them for my friends, and I was depleted. So I got to the gym, got a Celsius there, and I started drinking it on the treadmill. I started with my normal incline walk. I do my like 12, 3, 30. I'm doing it. The energy is rising. I'm drinking the Celsius. I'm feeling myself. I'm listening to the Mamma Mia soundtrack, not the ABBA songs. I'm listening to the soundtrack from the movie. Meryl Streep, Amanda Seyfried. It's weird, but it works. And suddenly I was doing an incline walk at 3.7 miles per hour, which I'm 5'4". That's like a jog. And I was full strutting. When I say my ponytail was doing a full pendulum behind me, like people were probably watching me like, what the fuck movie does this girl think she's in? And the answer is Mamma Mia. So I have like the best morning of my life. I get home, I shower, I do my like super productive work. I would say around like 1:30 p.m., I'm like, all right, I gotta eat something. I've been up for a million hours. I woke up at 6 this morning. Like, get me some food. I go get food, I have a little snack, and then dead, like no pulse. When I tell you, and this has like never happened to me before, save for cases of like true depression, I was inside my bed at 4 p.m. Inside the bed from 4 p.m. till 7. It is a policy of mine. I do not get in the bed until bedtime. I don't hang out in my bed. I don't rot in my bed. I like have had moments of depression in my life when it is like full bed rot, like can't get up. So when I'm not depressed, I am anti-bed rot. It's not good for my personal mental health. It might be different for you, but it's just it's so unlike me. And after having such a high positive morning, to be in full bed rot from 4 to 7 and like no motivation, can like barely keep my eyes open. It was so bizarre. So it really was kind of a wake-up call. It forced me to kind of reflect on what is going on with me right now. Like, why am I absolutely shutting down? And at first I was like, it's just a caffeine crash. It's fine. It's fine. So I like took a little bit of time off caffeine. That didn't help. That was weird that it didn't help. I really thought it was that. Then I tried like an extra bump of caffeine in the afternoon. That didn't help either. It seems to not be related to like how many milligrams are in me at any given moment. So the bed day was just my last straw. And while I was reflecting on my habits and my patterns and my kind of mental state over the last few weeks to try to diagnose myself, I kept coming back to this feeling of like, I have this like kind of chronic stress that's sitting under the surface at all times. But I was like, what am I so chronically stressed about? Like, yes, the renovation's expensive, but, like, I'm not gonna be out of house and home, right? I obviously planned for this, I've saved for this, I continue to make money at my job. It's just going out faster than I'm used to. So, like, yeah, I'm stressed about that, but that's kinda normal. I feel like in your 20s, there are times when you're stressed about money. Like, that's not enough to completely, like, neuter me halfway through the day. So, that's weird. And as I'm doing this self-reflection, I'm realizing I've kind of felt apathetic toward everything over the last, I would say it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. When it's time for a meal, I like cannot decide what I want. Nothing feels enticing. Nothing feels exciting. Nothing feels like, "Oh my god, I totally want that." Nothing. It's just kind of like, I guess I have to eat. And like that's weird. I love food, you guys. It's off brand. So that's kind of weird. Then there are times when I'll, like, go to watch a show, which if you've been following for a while, I'm not really a big TV girl, but sometimes when I need to just, like, turn my brain off, I'll put on a show and try not to think, and I can't decide what to watch, and then I'll just, like, put on something I've seen a million times, like, it'll just be the same show. I haven't started a new show, guys, in, like, 6 months, like, because I can't lock in, and then the show will come on, and I'll be, like, texting or scrolling or, like, doing something else. I cannot pay attention to the show, like, and this is happening in different areas of my life where nothing calls to me. I can't choose anything, like, nothing feels like it's pulling me in, which is so bizarre because 'cause I'm such an excitable person. I'm so, like, exuberant and passionate and, like, enthusiastic about things. I haven't really felt enthusiastic about that many things lately, especially these random things where it's like, maybe it's something you do it every day, but, like, I usually know what I'm craving for lunch. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so weird to not be interested in anything. The other thing I noticed that I think is, like, maybe the biggest thing outside of the apathy, like, the apathy is really unusual and really concerning to me. The second thing, which is also really unlike me and really concerning to me, is that I have no attention span. Like I said, I cannot lock into this show. I will be, like, scrolling or texting while the show is on. Then I've got, like, a million things, like, a million different streams of input for me at once. I'll be, like, on my computer, show in the background, phone playing a podcast, and texting. That's not normal. And I can't really, like, outside of my productivity window, which is, like, my caffeine-induced crackhead hour until basically from 6 a.m. to noon, those hours, I'm extremely streamlined and productive. It's like I'm a machine. After that, I literally can't pay attention to anything, can't finish a task, can't focus, can't lock in, to the point where the other day I was scrolling and realized that I could not sit through a 30-second TikTok video. I have been watching everything on 2x speed. You know, you can like put your thumb in the top corner and it like goes 2x speed. And then even on the 2x speed, if I feel like I'm not getting the information fast enough, I will take the scrubber and I will go halfway into the video to be like, what the fuck is this? The point of this? What point is this girl trying to make? It is so concerning to me because this is like the chronic stress is a little baseline. Apathy is not. Attention span issue is not. And I'm really concerned. So I was doing some research, Googling around the internet, what's going on with me lately. I don't understand. And that is kind of when I realized that not a single calendar day, not a single full calendar day, weekday, weekend, has gone by where I did not do one of my jobs in over a year. And I looked back on every single trip I've been on because I was like, that's impossible. That can't be a thing. They're all like a wedding or a work trip or even like a little vacay. And every single day, I'm like thinking about what I have to post on social. I'm thinking about writing an episode. I'm thinking about, oh, I have to edit that video. I have to do this. I have to email this person back. Even if it's just like an hour of work that I actually sit down and do, not a single day has gone by where I didn't do that. And on top of that, just the constant in my brain of like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. Like, don't forget to do this. Write that down in your notes, like whatever. I'm never not thinking about it, even if I'm not doing it. But in addition to that, not a day has gone by when I've actually like not sat down at my computer to do something. And that brought me to the conclusion that perhaps I'm burnt out. So I looked up the symptoms to be like, could that be it? You guys cannot make this up. That it's like verbatim what I've been talking about. You're wired in the morning and then have an enormous crash in the afternoon. This isn't, by the way, like these are not like every single universal person who experiences burnout experiences it this way, but everything I'm experiencing is an identified symptom of burnout. You can be wired in the morning and then have an enormous crash in the afternoon. Apathy or not caring about like what you eat today, what show you watch, what you do tonight with your friends. Like you just can't bring yourself to give a fuck. You can't make simple decisions or execute simple tasks. Like, for example, I have friends who like will text me and I'll see their text and I just like do not have the capacity, emotional, mental, or otherwise, to respond. And it's usually like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? You're around? I can't even be like, yes or no. And usually it's no, honestly. Like I'm traveling a lot. And it would be so easy and take 30 seconds. And I feel like such a piece of shit 5 days later when I realized I never responded to that text. I'm like, that's such a bad friend thing to do. But like for whatever reason, these simple tasks like build up in my head. And the more I procrastinate on them, the less inclined I am to go back and look at it and do it. It just feels like that text will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like I can't deal with it right now. I'll break down. It also, they say it like shows in your body. I had like a breakout, like an acne breakout this week for the first time in, oh God, I don't know. Basically, in the first time since I started using my Omnilux red light mask, which pretty much has eliminated breakouts for me forever. If you follow me on social media, you know I stopped taking spironolactone. And I was like, oh, my skin's going to go buck wild after this. And it didn't. And I think it's because of the Omnilux mask. But I had my first breakout this week and I have like, kid you not, it's been 2 years since I had a real life pimple. So I have no idea, or I had no idea what that was about. But looking at these symptoms of burnout, they're like, it could be acne, it could be bloating, gut issues, like hair thinning, a number of things. And this is also weird. And I didn't actually back this part up with research, but I tongue scrape in the morning, which by the way, all of us should be doing. It is fucking disgusting what builds up on your tongue throughout the day and overnight. I tongue scrape every morning. Like, I know this sounds putrid and vile, and it's because it is. Like, so much shit comes off of your tongue, and it's because that's, like, one of the ways your body detoxes. Oh my God, you guys, please be tongue scraping. Like, I think if my boyfriend didn't tongue scrape, I would be forcing him to because now I can't imagine the insides of people's mouths. Anyway, my tongue scraping has been like extra gross this week. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I think my body is completely responding to this. Also, you can be like hypersensitive when you're burnt out and like your emotions can be a little bit fragile. I say this because when I did the kitchen Q&A, there were a couple, like, kinda snarky comments about how small the sink is, which I think is, like, really weird, you guys. If you had, like, kind of a rude undertone or snarky undertone when you ask me why my sink is small, you need to fucking reflect. Go to therapy, drink some milk, fly a kite. I don't care what you need to do, but, like, that's so mean. Like, I just spent so much money to make this kitchen beautiful in my tiny New York apartment. I could have bought a 6-bedroom house in Texas for the price of my New York apartment. I wanna be clear. I looked on Zillow and everything. I could buy, in some cases, a much bigger house even in Texas, but, like, it's just small, okay? And you can hear me getting defensive and upset about this, and I think it's because I'm hypersensitive right now because I'm so fucking strung out. And same thing with, like, if you guys know that TikToker Anna Sitar, I think she's such a sweetheart. I love her content. And if you didn't know her before, you might know her because there's all this drama this week because some girl posted a video that's like, you know that trend with the Taylor Swift song? And it's like, "You look happy. You seem happier lately." And someone goes, "Thanks." And then, like, the reason they're happier lately, and she said, "Thanks, I just unfollowed an influencer who was, like, making me feel bad about myself." And then all the people in the comments were absolutely destroying Anna Sitar for no fucking reason. They were like, "Yeah, she's, like, unrelatable," and saying all these mean things, and, like, she just was really upset and posted a video, not directed at the girl who posted it, because the girl didn't name anyone, but she was just, like, really she was crying, she was devastated, and felt like she had let all these people down, and it's just, like, she built her career documenting her life. A bunch of people followed her, she made money from it, opportunities from it, she continues to document her life. Yeah, her life is a little bit different than it used to be, and we'll get back to the episode in a sec, but something I do wanna say is, like, we are starting to become a society that has completely parasocial relationships with influencers and creators. An influencer documenting their life, if that is triggering to you, you are well within your rights to unfollow them without announcing it. However, you need to do some work on yourself if their life is so triggering to you. They're not talking to you, they're not talking about you, they are living their lives. And if you feel so upset about their life that you need to, like, write nasty comments on the internet, I I don't even know how we have gotten here. It is out of control. Out of control. Everyone can just document their life. They're not doing anything wrong. I mean, unless they objectively are. Like, if you're a bigot or if you're, like, a total piece of shit, that's one thing. But this girl is literally just living her fucking life. And I cannot believe the vitriol with which people comment. I cannot believe how entitled people feel. These influencers don't owe you anything. And if you contributed to building them a platform in their career and then you take it out on them when they're no longer relatable, you need to reflect. It was so upsetting to me, and I think it's partly because I can relate, like, having been on the reality TV of it all and, like, understanding that people see a fraction, a sliver of you, and then draw these insane conclusions and speak about you and your character as if they've known you your whole life and they whatever, like, you're entitled to an opinion, like, you're not entitled to, like, we don't owe you all this shit, you know what I mean? Anyway, watching her cry on the internet, again, I think I partially was just, like, feeling empathetic about it, but I was, like, in tears watching her. She was so heartbroken, and I was, like, crying on the couch, and my boyfriend was like, "Um, are you okay?" And the answer is no. I've been really hypersensitive lately, a little bit fragile. Shockingly, it has not, like, I haven't fought with my friends or my boyfriend or my parents or anything about it. I just, like, will cry at things on the internet, like, for no fucking reason. And then there's, like, the doom scrolling, the procrastination, like, the kind of, like, aimlessness that comes with all this, right? Now, I think some people might be wondering, like, "Girl, you're on a plane every week. You're in a new city every week or a new country every week." Yeah, I am. It's actually contributing to the burnout. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm not vacationing, and it might look like a vacation, but every trip I've been on, except for save for one weekend when I went to Florida with my mom for my birthday, has been either for a wedding or for work. And I have worked on all those trips, including I worked on the weekend when I went to Florida with my mom for my birthday. So it's actually contributing to the burnout. It is not relaxing. It is not restful. It is not time off of work. It is fun. I have a fun job and I don't take that for granted. I'm very grateful for it and happy about it, but it's still work. And it's not, I guess what I'm saying is like, it's fun, but it's not freedom. Anyway, we today are not talking about avoiding burnout. I think ultimately we will do an episode on that, but there are times when you just get burnt out. And when I was figuring out that I was burnt out, and I was like, when I'm experiencing something, I'll go on the internet and look up a podcast and be like, I wonder if there's anyone on there talking about like how to cope with being burnt out already. You go and you look at all these episodes and they're all like how to avoid burnout, how to avoid getting burnt out. I failed at that. I didn't avoid it. I am officially burnt out. That's why if you're watching this episode, I'm here in no makeup for the first time ever in the history of recording this podcast. I'm wearing a sports bra. Like I look like shit because I woke up this morning and was frantic and running around and now I'm here. Like I haven't avoided it. So now I was like, I need to cope. How do I cope? Not a lot of podcast episodes on that. So today we're doing one. And the truth is, I don't think you should punish yourself if you failed at avoiding burnout. Life demands so much of us, and especially women, we try to keep up and like not let people down. And as a result, we let ourselves down. I think that's a big part of why the Anna Sitar thing like really broke my heart was that's her biggest fear is letting people down. And I can totally relate to that. And I think a lot of us can. And so sometimes you are the last priority on your list and you get burnt out. Side note, saying it out loud so that I can start to work on it. I think we need an episode on people pleasing. Anyway, now I'm going to give you, I think, like my advice for what to do when you're feeling burnt out once you're already there. There's no avoiding it. You're here. We need to figure out how to get back because the easy thing to say, which is what I've been saying all week, is like, I can't afford to take time off. I can't afford to take a break. I can't afford financially, I can't afford the time. People need me. I have to get this done. I can't stop. I can't. It's out of the question. So what can I do? Get a massage? Incorporate movement? Gratitude journal? No. Like those things are not going to be the things that save you. We are beyond that point. So this is my list of things that I feel like you can hear my voice shaking. I can feel it. It's not strong today. It's like flimsy. And that is like, I'm losing it. Anyway, this is going to be my list of things that I am about to do for myself because can I afford time off right now? No. But you know what? I really can't afford to be fucking sick for a month. I can't afford mono. I can't afford to like completely lose my marbles and stop making the podcast. I can't afford to lose it. So I need to take care of myself instead. I'd rather take off 2 weeks. I'd rather spend 2 weeks like not prioritizing my career and prioritizing myself than completely lose my grip and have to like stop everything hardcore for a month or more. Who knows? So these are things I'm going to do. Some of them are research backed. Some of them are not. Some of them are just ideas. And I'm going to give it a shot. And this is going to lead into like, by the way, one of these list items is to take the break. But this is for kind of leading up to that because most of us can't just drop everything and take a 2-week break today, right? Like there are going to be some things we have to do before that. So I'm going to say probably 6 things before taking a break. But I want you to know that this culminates in taking a break. And I think that taking a break is essential. So let's do the 6 things first. The first one is to lower the fucking bar. Put it on the floor, put it underground. I don't care. But my to-do list right now is 2 pages of spiral bound notebook and 2 columns on each page. So that's probably, I don't know how big my notebook is. I would say like 35 lines. So 35 times 2 is 1 page. That's 70. My to-do list is almost 140 items long. This is a big notebook in case you're wondering. It's not like an 8.5 by 11. It is a long to-do list. And it's everything from big things to little things. Like I put everything on my list. Otherwise it will go in one ear, not the other. But that's my to-do list. And every day I do make a list of like the priority items that need to get done. But that list is still like 15 items long. And I think part of my problem is I try to do 15 fucking things every day. Guess how many days I get all the way through it? Zero. Because also forget not, we're humans and we have shit going on. We're communicating with people. Things also come up throughout the day. And also you have to eat and find time to pee and go to bed. So we're going to lower the bar. And this is something that I learned from my productivity planner, which I will link in the show notes. I've talked about it on this podcast before. It is like, to me, one of the best inventions for productivity, mindfulness, mental health that I have ever spent money on. And it's not expensive. So like I said, I put it in the show notes, but whether you buy it or not, this is like, I think my biggest takeaway from the productivity planner is when you open the page for your day, it has space for like, I think it's like 7 to 9 to-do list items. And then it has all these little bubbles of like, did you drink water today and shit like that, which is so cute and I love. But if you're not intending to buy the productivity planner and you just want this one takeaway, I think it is so helpful. And I give full credit to the journal for teaching me this, which is when it gives you space to write your whatever it is, 9 to-do list items, it separates them into groups of 3. So the first group of 3 is just 1, 2, 3. And it says, if I completed nothing except for these tasks for the day, I would feel so much better tomorrow. And it gives you room to write 3 things. And then 4, 5, 6 are like, it would be super helpful if I got these done as well. And then 7, 8, 9 are like, I'll do these if I have time. And that kind of gives you a direction for the day. But to me, the biggest takeaway is just that one sentence that for whatever reason lights a match under me, where it's like, if I got nothing done except this one thing, these 2 things, these 3 things, tomorrow would be so much better. And when I look at my list, I can actually pretty easily identify, oh my God, if I got these 2 things off my plate today, not seeing them on my list would make tomorrow infinitely better. So the first tip is just to lower the bar. Make it your mission to accomplish 1 to 3 valuable things every day. And then the rest of your day, like, part of why you're burnt out might just be that, like, you're getting fucking pinged on Slack 87 times a day. Yeah, that's exhausting. Maybe, like, your partner is not picking up the mental load and every decision that needs to be made is put on you. Hey, what do you want to do for this? What do you think we should do about this? What do you want for dinner? What time do you want to do that? Like, maybe it's like you need to ask someone to make a decision on your behalf because it's a lot. But like I said, I think women really kind of bear this load and this burden so often, like just like the constant kind of baseline stress and buzz and input all the time, that sometimes 1 to 3 valuable things is all you can ask yourself to do on top of that. Because it's not like you're just fucking around the rest of the day. You have so much shit on your mind, and that is exhausting and it's heavy to carry around. This brings me to my second thing, which is huge, and it is to reduce the input. And when I was just talking about that kind of baseline of like, people pinging you on Slack all day, your notifications on social media, like your partner asking what you want for dinner and what time you want to do this. Do you want to go see your parents this weekend? Do you need to, like, your friends texting you, what are you up to on Saturday? Your mom texting you, hey, did you do this thing yet? Your accountant calling you being like, hey, there's just so much coming in. And to me, one of the things that contributes the most to me feeling burnt out is just like the baseline buzz of like all of this shit coming in all the time with no breaks. Like no one, oh my God, I literally feel like I'm gonna cry. No one leaves you alone ever. Ever. And everyone wants something and needs something from you. And if I visualize my capacity as like a cup, my cup is already halfway to capacity. It's already 50% full because of the baseline. All those people texting me, asking questions like, hey, I need this. Like, hey, can you do this for me? Can you blah, blah, blah. All the Slacks, the texts, the emails, the everything. I'm halfway there already. So I can only give 50% on the stuff that I need to really be giving way more than that. And so some of the ways you can cut your input that I really like are to do a content fast, a media fast, like no music, no TV shows, no podcast, no audio, no social media, no nothing, just silence. Whether that's like all day. For me, all day really helps. Like while I'm working, if I'm going on a walk, if I'm running an errand, like it's so, when you have all this stuff in your brain, it's so easy to just like throw in a podcast because you're like, if it gets quiet, I'll start thinking. My brain will start moving and the gears will start turning. I'll never fall asleep. I'll never be able to focus. I just need to like throw something on in the background so that my brain doesn't begin. But I think we're like getting overstimulated. It is like desensitizing us. And that's why we feel like so strung out. It's like there's just so much coming in. So like do the media fast. Put your phone on do not disturb. Like if someone really needs me for work, it's an email. So like all day I'm getting texts from like 20 to 30 different people sometimes. Almost none of it's about work. It's just like other stuff. And like that's why it's so hard to just answer the text about what you're doing this weekend, because I've gotten 120 communications asking me a question today. I don't have another answer left in me. So cutting the input of like what's coming into you, put your phone on do not disturb, turn off all your media. Like that makes a huge difference. Just like be in the world and be quiet for a little bit. Like to me, that makes it really helps. This is an interesting one, and it's one that's backed by a little bit of research. And it's so weird, but like it just shows how much your mental health and your physical health and your body, like it's all really connected. And it's to hydrate better. And until I read this online, I had not realized that I was not drinking water. I like barely drank any water yesterday. Usually I'm like a gallon a day kind of girl. Like I'm drinking like, those big like Coca-Cola, like 2-liter bottles. I'm drinking at least 2 of those a day usually, full of water, not Coca-Cola, to be clear. So it's really funny that the last couple days, looking back, I have not been doing a good job of that. And as I was doing this research, it turns out that the symptoms of some of the physiological symptoms and some of the mental health symptoms of being burnt out actually mimic dehydration symptoms. So you might have brain fog, you might have migraines, you might be irritable, you might be a little tired. All of these are symptoms of dehydration and also of burnout. And there are just a couple resources that said like reflect on your water drinking habits over the last however long you've been feeling burnt out. Like you're going to be surprised to notice you probably haven't been drinking that much water. And sometimes addressing those symptoms by doing, for example, drinking water can actually help with the burnout symptoms. I thought that was fascinating. So I've been actually setting an alarm on my phone for every 30 minutes to be like, have you had any water since the last 30-minute alarm went off? And if the answer is no, I take a second and I drink out of my water bottle. I thought that was really interesting. So we're going to see if that helps. But I know one thing, which is that dehydration is terrible for so many things in your body, in your brain, all of the things. And so regardless of whether drinking water helps with the burnout, being dehydrated definitely makes the burnout symptoms worse. So at the baseline, you cannot be making it worse by drinking some water. Another thing that I think is sort of related to that last one is if you're really burnt out, you're probably not getting amazing sleep. And it's kind of a chicken or egg thing. You might be burnt out because you're not sleeping well, or you might be not sleeping well because you're burnt out and like stressed and strung out and you like can't get good quality restful sleep. And so something that I am in the middle of right now is, and that I think really might help with burnout, is to go to bed early and consistently. Now, it's very hard to be like, okay, from now on, my bedtime is 10 p.m. That is a really big goal. I tried to do it at New Year's. My boyfriend and I were like, we're going to go to bed at 10:30 and wake up at 6:30 every single day. Ask me how long that lasted. It's too big a goal. I think if you try to get in your bed with no screens, so like a book is fine, but get in your bed with no other media, no electronics at 10 p.m. every night for 5 days in a row. That's not a big goal. You can literally check it off on a piece of paper if you want, on your calendar, like whatever it is. Try to do 5 nights in a row and see if you feel a little bit better. One thing that I know about myself over the last 3 to 4 weeks is my Whoop has been telling me that my sleep consistency is not good. And that sleep is just the foundation for so many physiological and mental processes that you experience day to day. But also, I talk about my Whoop all the time, but it has the biological age thing now. And the biggest contributing factor to my biological age not being lower than my actual age is inconsistency in my sleep. Whoop was like, if you would just sleep a little bit better, your biological age will go down. And so start with 5 nights. If you can do 5 nights in a row, try to do 7 nights. Try to do 10 nights. Try to do 2 weeks. You can increase. I am 99% sure you're going to feel a lot better. Like I said, I'm in the middle of this right now. I've done it for 2 nights in a row. I think I'm going to try, like I said, I'm trying for 5. If I can pull that off, I'm going to try to do more than that. It might be more realistic for me to do like just weeknights. So like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, and then do the weekend however I'm doing the weekend, and then do it again for the next week. But I think that's going to make a big difference. And online, it seems like it'll make a big difference. The 5th idea is grounding. And I think there could be a good episode on this, but I would want to speak with an expert. But the gist of grounding is to touch your skin to nature, whether it's sunlight, grass, sand, ocean, fresh air, whatever it is. It is for your physical body to have no barrier between your skin and the nature. Lately, the way that I have been in nature the most that I've been loving is golfing. But this is kind of funny for me because I'm not really a beach girl. I'm like a pool girl because I'm not a huge nature girl, to be honest. I like to be outside, but I don't like to be dirty. I don't really like sand. It's too much. It's overstimulating. But one of my favorite, most peaceful moments in time is sunset on the beach. Like not too hot, not sweaty, sand, yes, but not yucky sand, like dry sand. It's hard to explain, but I think people know what I'm talking about. That is like one of my blissful places and moments, but it's like a very niche specific thing. And being in New York, I don't live super close to ocean. Like I would have to like go away for like at least the weekend probably to like truly have a moment with ocean. But grounding can just help you reconnect to yourself, reconnect to the world, remember how small we are and how small our problems are in comparison to the world. There are so many benefits to it, but I think for me, sometimes I live in my head and not in my body as much as I would like to. So grounding. And then the 6th thing before we get into the big whole thing about taking the actual break is to brain dump for, again, we're going to do like a small goal, 7 days in a row, 5 to 7 days. You could start with 5. It might be easier again on weekdays. Um, I told some of you guys that I had been journaling, and and it was making a really big difference in my mental state because it's sort of like the brain version of grounding to me. When I wake up, I have like a million thoughts in my head immediately, and I start thinking about like what I have to do, what's going on, how am I feeling, like does this person need anything, checking in on my mom, like whatever. And it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of start your day like that. It's like you're already torn between all 25 of these things, plus not to mention the impending doom like in the world that we have to like live under the burden of every single day. And so it's just a lot. And when I was journaling, I was saying to everyone, and I should just take my own fucking advice, it just gives you kind of a clean, grounded slate to start from every day if you are able to just dump your thoughts on a page. And this is big, big mandatory pen and paper experience. This is not a computer thing. It does not hit the same digitally. Also, I think 10 fewer minutes with a screen would do all of us some good. But I'm going to do this again because I was doing it. I journaled every day for 3 months. That is like the longest sprint I've ever done. It was really good. It was so good for me. I started every single day going outside and writing in my journal. And it it can be very accessible. It doesn't have to make sense. No one's fucking reading this. You're not publishing this. You're not sending it to Penguin Random House. Like, just write whatever comes to mind, stream of consciousness, write the date, and then be like, woke up exhausted and miserable today. Like, excited to see William later. We're going to the movies. It's gonna be great. Stressed about money today. Like, got a really big bill for the air conditioning renovation, and work is gonna be killer because I already have inbox 400. But like, hoping today to get that number down. Like, that's my priority. It just like helps you dump it out of your brain so that your brain's not carrying that around when it goes to start the day, right? I think it's a great idea. It was really helping me before, and I just need to like get back into that. Okay, we're almost wrapping up here, but the thing I really want to talk about now for this like last part of the episode is taking the actual break. And I'm just going to say how I think I need to do it and how I think I would recommend doing it. But like, if you relate to me and you feel like might be similar, but feel free to like take this and adapt it to your own needs. It is like, it's some of it I like kind of gathered from ideas around the internet. Some of it is just like my take on it and my kind of structure of how I would do it. But it's not Bible and it's not medical advice, that's for sure. But this is how I would structure it, because just like taking 2 weeks off would not do it for me. I know I'd still be thinking about work. I'd be like doing a little bit of work, but not all the way work, which by the way is not the same as taking a break. I would like still be doing a lot of life stuff. I think I need to like really be intentional about this time, is what I'm saying. And so here's how I would structure it to, I think, optimize for truly recharging. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is ask myself whether I feel like I recharge better when I'm completely alone or when I'm with other people. And so I asked myself that question. And for me, it's a little bit of a combination. I recharge best around a very select group of people: my boyfriend, my family, specifically my mom, dad, brother, and sometimes my grandparents as well when I'm able to see them. Um, and a single digit number of friends. I have a single digit number of friends in my life who I feel recharged after spending time with them. So my dream break, if you will, would be other people are there, but I am able to take alone time within it. It's like a very low pressure experience. Like, we don't have to hang out every second, but they're there because they're my people and like they're the people who make me feel best. After that, I think the next step is to set my intention for the time period, which for me would be to rest, like let my body rest, to recharge, and also to kind of reconnect to my inspiration. And not like one particular thing, but just like when I'm frantic like this, I feel like I'm just going through the motions and I'm not really moved by something inside me. I feel like I'm not like driven by the passion. I am just like doing the things because they need to get done. And that's not really when I feel my most creative. It's not when I feel my most powerful. It's not when I feel like I'm the best version of myself for myself and for other people. So those would be, I think, some of my intentions. But I also will be kind of digging in on that question and doing a little bit more of a little bit of a bigger reflection exercise to set that intention. This very popular kind of ideology went around maybe a year or two ago. I don't know if it was like a viral article or what, but I remember everyone was talking about it. And this article said that you need between 7 and 10 days off from work before you stop thinking about work automatically every single day. Like, the short weekend trips that everyone takes to get their little breaks are like good short-term stress relievers. But in order to actually effectively reduce burnout, the longer ones here and there can actually make a much bigger difference, it seems. And I can't remember the exact information from the article. Transparently, this was like not a research heavy episode for me. This was more just like speaking from my heart. So I didn't really go on the internet and verify all this, but I do kind of believe that just from my own experience, that it might take 7 to 10 days to stop thinking about work instantly when you wake up in the morning. And that really, to me, speaks to like the weekend warrior culture that we all have, where we're working 5 days a week. We get the 2 days, quote unquote, off. But like I don't know anyone who actually spends their entire weekend not thinking about work at all. Like, you're telling me you don't have a single thought about your job? I do emails all weekend. I work all weekend. I edit videos all weekend. I post all weekend. Like, I'm actually working Saturdays and Sundays, full working, sit down at my desk, open my computer working. But I don't know anyone who doesn't even think about it. So I do kind of believe that 7 to 10 days fully off of work, I would still be thinking about work until day 7 to 10. I could see that happening for me. Um, I actually did some research. I went through my camera roll and looked at every pictures from every single trip that I went on, so that I like this past year, so that I didn't forget any. And I was looking for a trip when I could confirm that I didn't do any work. And the closest thing I found to it is when I went with my family to Vienna, Austria last summer to see Coldplay, which was sick. We did not reveal an affair at that concert, which was a huge bummer, but it was an amazing show. It was like a really beautiful, special trip. And that was probably the least work I've done on a trip in the last, I don't even know how long. Like, I did do some social media stuff while I was there, but I didn't work. I didn't like use my laptop on that trip. So that was over a year ago now. And that's the most recent time I can find a time when I did that. And for context, that day or that trip was 5 days long. So I I was talking to someone about this. I don't know that I've ever taken 7 to 10 days off ever since I started working. Um anyway, so I've basically thought about my job every day since I started since I was birthed. Anyway, that's like rocked my foundation just now. If you can't tell, I totally got off track because that's insane. Um, anyway, so the reason I was talking about this is because I'm going to identify a time. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to identify a time when I can take 2 full weeks off from work, maybe more, maybe 3. I'm going to make a lot of necessary precautionary preparations at work so that I'm able to take that time off, and like the work will keep happening while I'm gone, because I truly can not have stuff happen while I'm gone. But if I put in, I think, a really big grind beforehand, I can like set it up so that it is pretty smooth while I'm away. And then the week I return, which will be either the 3rd or 4th week, depending on how many weeks I'm able to take off. The week I return, I'm gonna make it a light week so that, I can use that week to kinda catch up and get back into it, and I think that's a huge key, because what you cannot do, what would undo all of the work, is if you went back to work and it was 0 to 100 after your, like, recharge 2 weeks. Like, that's insane. That's exactly what you're not supposed to do. So, you schedule a light week for the week you're back, and before you go on this trip, you're doing all the things. You're grinding to set yourself up for success while you're away so that the work doesn't completely stop. You're scheduling yourself a light week for when you return, and you're setting it out of office. And I think the best life hack I've heard here is when you set the out of office, set it for an extra day. So, like the Monday you go back to work, your out of office is still on. And what you can do, this is probably how I'll do it, is like the out of office for the 2 weeks I'm gone will be like, "Hey, I'm out of office. Do not email me again. Please leave me the fuck alone." But then the out of office on the day I return will be, "Hey, I'm just getting back and I'm using this day to catch up. So like I'm doing some work, but it might take me a minute to get back to your message if you email me and you receive this in response." And that kind of allows you to ease back into it on the first day, especially. And then throughout the week, having your light week gets you kind of slowly back into the grind. Before you go on your break, you're going to identify a person who's kind of your main anchor person at work. Now, this is not a tip for me because I basically do all my work myself right now. I don't have a management team, like whatever. I do everything. So it doesn't work for me right now, but I think this is a really good one for people who either have a boss or have an assistant or who have like a team at work. Maybe you have a work wife. And I'm going to identify that person, be like, "You're my person. Hey, girlie, you're my person." And you set a catch up meeting for the first day you come back toward the end of the day. So that's your day when your out of office is still kind of going and it's like, hey, playing catch up today, get back to you soon. Toward the end of that day, I would probably do it for like 4 p.m. if in my ideal dream world, where you have a catch up. And during that catch up, you kind of align on like, how was it while I was gone? Did anything important happen that I need to know about? Anything that is like priority for me to accomplish now that I'm back? And just like kind of get aligned. And we're going to come back to this later because I'm going to now take you through the whole like trip away and then like coming back into it. But for now, just schedule that kind of catch up meeting with your anchor person. And then you go on your break. And the question now is just like kind of what do I do? Right? I think I would get like bored and go crazy with that much time on my hands. So I do think I need some structure, but I would probably only do things that make me feel better after I do them. So the first few days would be to definitely the priority would be like my physical health. We are going to recover my sleep debt. I'm going to sleep, go to bed early, and wake up when my body's done sleeping. Like not at 7, not go to bed early, wake up early. Like go to bed and wake up when my body wakes up. And not wakes up from cortisol and anxiety, but like wakes up because it's done being asleep. And I also will probably spend the first few days doing a full digital detox, like maybe read some books, maybe nap, maybe go for some light walks, but like I'm not texting anyone. I'm not scrolling on social media. I'm not looking at my emails. I'm not doing anything. Because for me, like my baseline right now as someone who's burnt out is I'm tired and I'm wired. So like I need to drop those things before I do the actual recharge. Movement will definitely be a priority for me during the break. I'll definitely read a lot. I love to read. To me, that is a big recharge. And I also love to do kind of like culture-y things. I love to go to museums. I love to look at art. I love a gallery, that kind of stuff. That stuff makes me feel better when I'm done doing it. I feel recharged. I feel like I learned something. I feel like I used my brain in a way that's not like exhausting. I would have limited hangouts with friends. I do think to this point that I'll probably need to go out of town to get what I want out of this trip because if I'm in my own home, there are always tasks to be done. And also, too many people feeling like they are entitled to full access to me. And I don't mean that in like a snarky way, like leave me the fuck alone, even if I have said that, I think, during this episode in a snarky tone. That's not really what I mean. It's just when you're at home, people feel entitled to text you and get a response immediately, to call you and get an answer on whether you can hang out today. And like, or to like be around you and talk to you and like suck up some of your energy. And that's okay. Like we're humans. We need connection. We need to interact with people. But the purpose of this time for me is not to service those other people. It's not to respond to their texts or their calls or like spend half an hour talking to them after a workout or any of the things. Like this is to recharge. So I think I would need to go out of town. And I would do the limited hangouts with my recharge people if I have access to them. I think after my initial crazy sleep recovery, where I just sleep until my body's done sleeping, I would set a very specific sleep and wake schedule to get on my consistency. And I think for me, that would be bed at 10, lights out at 10:30. So I'm reading for half an hour in bed, and then waking up at 7. That's my dream, I believe. I also think I would need to do something reflective every day. And like I said, I think that's going to be journaling for me. And now, so like that's kind of my trip. Like it's a very low pressure. Like you'll notice there were not a lot of to-do list items on that trip. That's the whole entire point. I fear that's the whole entire point. The more I think about this and like visualize it in my head, the more I envision it happening at my Florida house because I can't imagine a world where I can afford a hotel for 3 weeks, like a hotel that I would stay at for 3 weeks. And Florida's very sunny and warm and there's ocean. So I think probably this will happen at my Florida house. Anyway, now we're kind of going to get to the part because that trip is so subjective. Like everyone's is going to kind of look different. But I want to talk again about the part where we go back to work afterwards because I think a big part of the trip being effective and working at reducing burnout is doing so in a capacity that is not 0 to 100. So I think probably this trip has to be actually a little bit longer than 2 weeks because I want to spend my last kind of 2 days of the trip, 1 or 2 days, planning what my life will look like when I return to it so that when I do, I don't immediately get burnt out again or undo all the work I've just done. So I think 2 days before the end of my trip, I am going to do a reflective exercise that's still related to the trip and not so much about work, but making kind of a list of things that I did during my time off that I loved the most, that recharged me the most. Like maybe it's going to bed early. Maybe it's like I took a walk every single day after lunch. Maybe it's like a certain specific movement practice. And I'm going to make that list of things like, okay, over the last 2 weeks of my burnout trip where I was like reconnecting to myself and nature, these were the things that changed my life the most and made me feel the most energy. Then I'm going to put that list aside. Then we are going to think about our time in the real world. And this is kind of when we start dipping our toes back into real life. I went to Costa Rica with my boyfriend and a bunch of very cool, like kind of founders, like mostly tech founders, a couple months ago. And we went to this place called Recenter. And Ben, the founder of Recenter, was a multi-time, like a serial entrepreneur with multiple exits who had the burnout problem. He burnt out. He is starting to lose his mind. And he packed up, moved to Costa Rica, and started basically a wellness retreat there, a wellness center called Recenter. And the point of it is for burnt out founders to go there. And things are kind of taken care of. You have a room, like you can do all these things on property, you can do things out in nature, and it is literally in the jungle of Costa Rica. So you are like in nature. But they have workshops where they kind of address burnout. And one of the things that we did while we were there was called an energy audit. And shout out to Ben for this idea. The idea of the energy audit was we brought our laptops, we made a spreadsheet or like copied his spreadsheet template into our own computers. And it was like you write down all the things you do basically in a regular recurring capacity in your life related to your schedule, whether that's like work and life or just work. And you basically rank it with a number. Like, is it a -3? Like it drains my energy a lot? Is it a +3? It boosts my energy a lot? Whatever. Anyway, the energy audit was really cool. It was really kind of like complicated, not like in a way that it's hard to understand, but in a way that it's like kind of so involved that like I never returned to mine after the trip. I thought it was a good exercise for bringing clarity to me, like what sucks energy and what increases it. But it was a lot to kind of return to, so I never did. And I want you to do a very simplified version of it. So we've made now the list of what we did on the burnout, like vacation, the trip, the retreat, if you will, the break. We made our list of like what energized us during that. Now we're going to do a simplified energy audit where we write down a list of things that are our biggest energy drains and then things that are our biggest energy boosters throughout our life, like throughout the week. And these for me are all like kind of recurring things. So for example, like researching and writing my podcast episodes. I do that every single week. Is that a drain or is that a boost? And you're going to approach it that way. Then we're going to go to the list of drains and we're going to see, like, brainstorm. How can we change them or eliminate them or delegate them? How can you transform that energy drain so it's either less of a drain or maybe even transform it into a boost? Then you're going to say like, okay, I made this list of things that boosted my energy on the burnout break. How can I incorporate those energy boosting things into my life? And then like then you'll look at the list of like energy adds, energy boosters from your work life week. And like, how can I boost those even more? How can I incorporate more of those? That was kind of like a roundabout way of explaining it, but I think you get the gist. Is like you make your list of things from the burnout break that are great, the list from things in your daily life that drain you, and the list of things in your daily life that are great. And you kind of bring all of them together to be like, what can my week look like now where I have more energy boosters than energy drains? And if possible, transform the drains into something that's not as much of a drain. Then a full day before you return to your real life, you're going to go home. So you're not going to like be on your vacation until the Sunday at 9 p.m. and then you go back in on Monday. You're going to come back either on the Saturday night or the Sunday morning so that you have your full last day of the break to yourself before you begin kind of easing back in. And you are going to spend that day basically nesting, which is like what pregnant ladies do when they're about to have a baby. You're going to clean your home. You're going to like tidy up your workspace, make it beautiful and inviting. Do whatever you have to do. For me, it is to make it like super neat and organized and to bring, I love a fresh flower. For whatever reason, that changes like my mental state. So I'm going to put fresh flowers on my desk, make sure my laundry is done. I'm going to unpack from the trip if I went away, because one thing you don't need is a full suitcase of dirty clothes from your break hanging over your head all week. You're going to buy groceries. You're going to stock up with snacks. You're going to do whatever you do so that when you wake up on your first day of easing back into your real life, you're prepared. There's nothing that you have to do to set up your space or your home to make it right. You're going to be able to wake up and you're going to have every snack you've ever dreamed of. It's going to be clean. It's going to smell good. There are going to be flowers. That is an inviting and warm and like kind of a soft landing place for you to return to work. Day one of your return, you know you're going to have to do emails. You just know it. So you wake up on your day and you remember, I scheduled a light week so that I could ease into it. That's what my out of office for the extra day is for, so that people don't really bother me on this day. And you're going to just wake up and acknowledge the reality of that. You've had some time to mentally prepare for it. And you are going to start your day with a little walk and get a sweet treat, little drink, a nice little coffee, your favorite coffee, or a nice breakfast. Maybe you go to a cafe and you actually sit and you just have your breakfast. You're not scrolling on your phone still. You're having your coffee. You're taking your time. You're enjoying it. And then you plant yourself at your desk in the most comfortable way possible. You can put on some I like to put jazz on in the background. My playlist on Spotify that I love for that is called Jazz in the Background. I didn't make that playlist. Someone else did, but it's my favorite jazz playlist for working. You can set up some snacks on your desk, whatever you need to have your little ease in. And then my process is this for dealing with the inbox, because in my experience, that's the biggest cortisol spike when you're going to make your return, whether it's after a weekend, after a vacation, in this case, after the burnout break. This is my process for tackling the inbox, because it is to me the biggest cortisol spike, the biggest obstacle, the biggest hardship in coming back to your life. I go through my unreads and I do one big pass where I open and read every single email. And when I tell you I'm going to have thousands after 2 to 3 weeks away, it's going to take a minute. That's why we set the out of office for one extra day. Hey, I'm catching up today. Please be patient with me. I open and read everything. I flag every email that requires a response or an action item. Just put the flag on it. You don't have to do anything about it right now. Just flag it. And then anything that is a newsletter or random, something you don't need to respond to, something you don't need to deal with, you either skip it or you don't or you delete it. That's it. Just do your one big pass. After that, because that could take a long time, take a break. Go back outside, ideally. Reconnect with nature. Don't bring your phone. No music, no podcast. We're still on the no external media. We're cutting the input. Go for a walk. Go out in the sun. Feel the air on your skin. Breathe it in. You also might, by the way, if you have really as many emails as I'm going to have after this, you might even want to batch it out where you open 100 of them or 50 or 100 of them, read them and flag them. Again, you're not doing action items, but you could batch it out if that's even a lot for you to do all of them at once. After you do your first big pass, we're doing the second pass. And the second time you read all these emails, you are going to make a list on pen and paper of your kind of priority ones, the ones that require time sensitive action items. And I want you to be really discerning here, because something I think we forget is that they're not all urgent. They're not all time sensitive. Not every single thing needs an immediate response. So on this second pass, you're not going to sort them electronically. This is my opinion, at least. You're going to use a pen and paper to put them in an order of priority. What is actually urgent? What should ideally get done this week? And then what can wait? That is ideally all you do before your 4 p.m. catch up with your anchor person. Remember, we scheduled that meeting. We're going to stick to it. Ideally, you have done that. And now you can catch up with your person and be like, hey, I've been through the emails. It's my understanding that these are my priorities in this next kind of week or so as I get back into things. Is there anything I missed that I need to know about while I was gone? Is there anything that you need me to prioritize or that you think is important for me to move forward with as I ease back into my week? And you just spend that time aligning with your person on those priorities. And that is when you make your to-do list using information from your inbox and from your catch-up call. you can prioritize. And I like to return to the productivity planner style where it's like, if these 1 to 3 things got done today, it would make my life so much better tomorrow. If 4, 5, and 6 happened, that would be amazing. And if 7, 8, and 9 happened, awesome. But like, it won't kill me if those are my 1, 2, and 3 tomorrow. Like, if I have time, I'll do 7, 8, and 9. And if you just rinse and repeat, that is how I think would be the best way to kind of ease back in. Again, I want you to adapt this break for whatever you need, whatever works for you in your experience. But this is, for me, how I think I would be able to do it in a way that would genuinely recharge me and would also allow me to return in a capacity that doesn't stress me out more or undo the work that I just did on my break. So that is my recommendation. And like I said, I think I will be doing an episode down the line on how to try to avoid burnout. But this episode isn't that. Sometimes you get burnt out. It's okay. We all do. We live in a world that burns us out. And that's why this came kind of backwards, because unfortunately, I'm already there. I'm in that place. I need the break in order to keep going. So I hope today was helpful. I hope if you're feeling the same way I've been feeling, that you feel a little bit less alone and less like there's something wrong with you, because that's how I've been feeling. And that you are able to forgive yourself and take care of yourself and prioritize yourself. And that you are able to recognize that this break isn't like I'm self indulgent or I'm just a wuss. This break is like kind of the bare minimum. If you're feeling burnt out the way I am, that means you have pushed yourself to your brink by prioritizing everything and everyone except yourself for a really long time. And the break is kind of just the bare minimum in taking care of yourself and making it all okay again. And so I hope you feel that you are able to do that. And if you feel that you're not able to do that, I think you need to ask yourself, do I feel that way because of external reasons, like someone's telling me I can't do it? Or do I feel that way because I will not allow myself to prioritize me? And use it as like one of those quizzes, like where you see the box and then the arrow, like, like, is it because of me? Yes. Okay, then get the fuck over that and help yourself. And if it's like I'm feeling the external pressure, okay, what's the next step of that? Identify where the external pressure is coming from and address it. Whether that's like your boss puts too much pressure on you. Are you in a toxic work environment? Maybe. Maybe you need a different lifestyle. Maybe you need a different job. Maybe you need to have a conversation with your boss. So I hope you find it in yourself to take care of yourself if you're feeling like you've hit this rock bottom and you need the break. And I hope today's episode was helpful for that. And I'm going to do the outro. So if you're not interested in the outro and you want to dip, feel free. See ya. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for giving Caps Lock a chance. If you liked this episode, please stick around for more because we have some really interesting topics coming up, including friend breakups, nervous system regulation, hair loss, and so much more. Some will be solo episodes and some will feature scientists, founders, experts, doctors, and other very cool, smart people. If there's a topic you want to hear about on Caps Lock, send me a message. And lastly, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Life in Caps Lock. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leave me a rating or review and tune in next Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern for another episode of Caps Lock. Okay. Love you guys. Talk soon.